There are times in life when the heart feels disoriented, as if the path once clear has now vanished into fog. In these moments we whisper to ourselves, "I feel lost." But being lost is not the end of the road. It is often the beginning of something sacred. To feel lost is to be reminded that we are not fully in control, and in that humility, space is created for grace. Often, God does His deepest work in us not when we are confident and certain, but when we are unsure, searching and open. When everything familiar fades away, we begin to hear the quiet voice of the one who never left us. Feeling lost can be an invitation, a divine summons to stop, to reflect, and to listen. It's not a punishment, but a process of realignment. Like a shepherd who leaves the 99 to find the one, God seeks us in our confusion. In the eyes of faith, being lost is not a failure. It's the fertile ground where transformation begins. In the silence of uncertainty, we can rediscover the deeper purpose God has planted within us, something we may have overlooked in all our busyness and striving. Work is more than a necessity, it is sacred. From the very beginning of creation, labor was part of God's design for humanity. We were created to tend, to build, to care, to shape the world with our hands and hearts. But in today's world, work is often reduced to a transaction, a means to earn, to survive, to achieve status. When we view work only through this lens, we strip it of its deeper meaning. Yet in truth, every task, no matter how small or unnoticed, can be an expression of our partnership with God. Work invites us to participate in creation, to bring order from chaos, beauty from the mundane, and service from duty. Whether it's cleaning a room, writing a letter, cooking a meal, or managing a business, each act of labor holds spiritual value when done with love. The sacredness of work doesn't come from the type of job, but from the intention and heart behind it. Even when the world does not see or reward the effort, heaven sees. It becomes not just something we do, but something we offer our time, our energy, our care, as a gift to others and as worship to the one who gave us these gifts to begin with. Daily work, when seen through the lens of faith, becomes more than just routine. It becomes an offering. Each moment of labor can be transformed into a sacred act when it is given with love. The ordinary can become holy. Folding clothes, typing reports, caring for children, repairing machinery, these may seem mundane, but when done with a spirit of service and gratitude, they rise up as prayers before God. It is not the size or visibility of the task that matters, but the heart behind it. God does not overlook the unnoticed or undervalued. He sees the quiet sacrifices, the small acts of kindness, the consistent efforts we give day after day. These are not wasted moments. They are sacred offerings. In giving our daily work to God, we align our actions with His will, making each task a part of something greater. This transforms our perception of labor. No longer do we toil for mere survival or praise. Instead, we serve with purpose, knowing that our work, however ordinary it may appear, is part of a divine tapestry. Through faith, our labor becomes worship, our effort becomes a gift, and our work becomes a channel through which God's love flows into the world. Work is not just about achieving results or finishing tasks. It is a journey that shapes who we are becoming. Every day, through the responsibilities we carry, our character is being formed. Patience is built when we face delays and frustration. Humility grows when we serve without recognition. Perseverance deepens when we keep going despite exhaustion. In this way, work becomes a refining fire, not to burn us, but to purify and strengthen us. It teaches discipline, sharpens focus, and stretches our capacity to love. When we approach our work with the awareness that it is shaping our inner life, we begin to value the process as much as the outcome. We start to see how the workplace, the home, or the field becomes a school of the soul. The tasks may repeat, the environment may feel routine, but the soul is never static. It is constantly being molded by how we engage with the work before us. And when done in the right spirit, this shaping brings us closer to the image of God. Our labor becomes not only a tool for external productivity, but also a means of internal transformation. We become more patient, more generous, more faithful, more like the people God has called us to be. Christ, in his earthly life, embraced humble labor. Before his public ministry, he spent years working with his hands as a carpenter. This choice was not accidental. It was intentional, sacred, and deeply symbolic. The Son of God did not come into the world demanding comfort or status. He came to serve, and his service began not in temples or palaces, but in a workshop. By working with wood and tools, by sweating in silence and shaping the ordinary into something useful, he sanctified the dignity of labor for all of humanity. His hands, the same hands that would one day heal the sick and bless the multitudes, were once calloused from daily toil. This truth reminds us that no task is beneath us when it is done in love. When we feel as though our work is too small to matter, we should remember that Christ himself chose the small and the simple. He showed that every honest job carries divine value. Through his example, we are reminded that labor is not something to escape, but something to embrace with humility and purpose. In Christ's hands, labor was love made visible, and so it can be for us as well. Work, when stripped of love and deeper purpose, can become a heavy burden, something that exhausts rather than inspires. Too often, society teaches us that our worth is measured by how much we achieve, how fast we deliver, or how high we climb. But this narrow view leaves the soul hungry. We begin to feel like machines instead of people. We lose sight of the joy, creativity, and connection that work can bring. But when we rediscover the true meaning behind our labor, everything changes. Work is not just about productivity, it is about transformation. It is a way to serve others, to contribute to something larger than ourselves, and to reflect God's love in practical, daily ways. When love is infused into our efforts, we are no longer working just for a paycheck or a title. We are working to build, to bless, and to bring life. The shift happens not necessarily in the type of job we do, but in how we approach it. With love, even the smallest task becomes significant. Without love, even the grandest success feels empty. Our work takes on eternal value when it is rooted in compassion, guided by faith, and offered as a daily act of service. When we become disconnected from the purpose behind our work, the soul begins to wear thin. What once may have been fulfilling slowly becomes mechanical. We wake up, perform our duties, go home. Yet inside we feel a growing sense of emptiness. This is not because work is inherently draining, but because meaning has been lost along the way. Human beings are not created to function like machines. We are made for deeper connection, to God, to others, and to the purpose that breathes life into our daily efforts. When we work only for survival or success, we may achieve much, but still feel spiritually exhausted. Our energy fades and our joy disappears. But when we take a moment to ask, why am I doing this? Who is this helping? How can I do this in love? We begin to realign with a deeper reason for our labor. Reconnecting with purpose revives the spirit. It reminds us that work is not punishment, but participation in something greater. We are invited to serve, to grow, and to become co-creators with God. This is what renews us. Without purpose, we burn out. With purpose, even hard work becomes a source of joy and spiritual renewal. When work is joined with love and faith, it becomes more than effort. It becomes a prayer. This truth reshapes how we view even the most routine tasks. The ordinary becomes extraordinary when offered to God with a sincere heart. A mother preparing meals, a nurse caring for the sick, a student studying diligently, or a builder laying bricks, all of these can become silent prayers rising to heaven. It is not about the noise or the visibility of our work, but the love with which it is done. In faith, we begin to see each moment of labor as an opportunity to commune with God. Our hands move, but it is our spirit that is speaking. This transforms the workplace into sacred space. God is not only found in churches or holy places. He is present at our desks, in our homes, and even in the tension of daily struggles. When we work with a spirit of gratitude and a heart of service, our labor becomes an offering of worship. Prayer is not confined to folded hands and quiet rooms. It is lived out through loving action. In this way, every hour of work becomes an act of devotion, and our lives are lifted into continual communion with the divine. Every kind of labor, no matter how hidden or humble, can be a form of service to others. When we work with love, our efforts reach beyond ourselves and become blessings to those around us. The teacher shaping young minds, the janitor keeping a building clean, the farmer growing food, the driver transporting goods. Each one serves the needs of others, often without recognition. This is where the beauty of work truly lies. It allows us to care for one another in practical, meaningful ways. Work becomes a form of giving. It becomes a way of saying, "You matter," to someone we may never even meet. In a world that often elevates only the glamorous or high-profile roles, faith reminds us that no service is too small in the eyes of God. He sees the heart that serves. Every person, through their labor, contributes to the fabric of life, and when done in love, each job reflects divine compassion. Serving others through our work is not about applause. It is about intention. When we approach our tasks with the desire to uplift and support others, we align our work with the very heart of God, who came not to be served, but to serve. God is not distant from our daily labor. He is present in each moment of it. Often, we imagine His presence only in sacred spaces, quiet prayers, or dramatic miracles. But the truth is, God walks beside us in the ordinary. He is with the mother changing diapers, the cashier scanning groceries, the nurse working night shifts, and the student studying late into the night. There is no place too plain, no task too repetitive for God to enter. His grace fills the spaces where we work, especially when we work with love, patience, and honesty. He watches over the faithful laborer, not just the preacher or the prophet. This divine closeness transforms our understanding of work. We are never alone in our efforts. When the day feels heavy or unappreciated, when our strength falters and our spirit wanes, we must remember God is near. He blesses our hands, strengthens our backs, and speaks to us in the silence between tasks. Each step, each breath, each moment of perseverance is seen and held by Him. Knowing this gives us peace. We do not work for worldly reward alone. We work in communion with a loving Father who delights in walking with His children through every season of life. In a world that constantly measures worth by performance, titles, and productivity, it is easy to forget who we truly are. We are not defined by our output. We are not machines designed only to achieve and produce. Our deepest identity lies not in what we do, but in who we are, beloved children of God. This truth frees us from the relentless pressure to prove ourselves through work. It reminds us that our value is not earned, it is given. No amount of success can increase it, and no failure can diminish it. When we understand this, our work becomes more peaceful, more joyful, because we no longer strive from a place of fear or comparison. We begin to work with confidence, rooted in love rather than insecurity. Whether our task is big or small, seen or unseen, we do it not to earn worth, but to reflect the dignity we already possess. And this dignity is shared by every person, regardless of job, income, or status. When we carry this truth into the workplace, we begin to treat others differently too, with greater respect, patience, and care, because we see in them what God sees in us, not workers first, but sacred souls. Work, when offered with love and faith, becomes a way in which heaven is quietly built here on earth. Each action, no matter how small, can carry the weight of eternity when done in the spirit of service. A kind word to a colleague, a carefully written report, a repaired item, or a shared meal, all of these acts, though ordinary, become bricks in the construction of God's kingdom. We often look for God in the grand or miraculous, yet He is also revealed in the daily rhythm of honest labor. When our work contributes to peace, healing, dignity, or hope, we are participating in something much larger than ourselves. It's not about changing the entire world in one sweep, but faithfully building one corner at a time. Every job done with integrity adds structure to the unseen cathedral of grace rising in this world. This understanding transforms how we see our work, not as a burden, but as a calling. We become builders, sowers, and co-creators with God. Through our faithful efforts, light enters dark places, justice takes root, and love becomes visible. Heaven is not only a future destination, it is something we are helping to shape here and now, one act of work at a time.